If you like my videos, please comment, share, like, and subscribe. It helps the videos spread around the world. It's one of the only ways that we can help shine a light on our little town of East Palestine, Ohio, now that the press and the politicians are gone. And please consider joining our Facebook group, East Palestine Off the Rails. Get the truth from people who live here. And when I get a little too dicey for YouTube, please check out my Rumble channel. You can find me as Phoenix on the Sword. That is Phoenix on the Sword. And lastly, check our Give, Send, Go and our GoFundMe site, East Palestine Off the Rails. It is dedicated to helping people move out that want to move. We have had no financial help from the government. Thank you so much. No donation is too small. I had a patient come in yesterday who lives in Negley, Ohio, and she was going to get a reverse osmosis and not drink right out of her well when I talked to her a couple months ago. Now, people, I'm not saying your water's safe or your water is unsafe. When friends would come from other parts of the country, that was their big thing about the house, was that they just loved the water. But since the derailment, we've been drinking out of bottled water. And we've been cooking out of bottled water. Is it silly to some? Yes. Is it silly to a lot of people? Heck no. So we all have different points of view. I asked her, hey, did you get your reverse osmosis you were talking about? She said, no. When we went to the lab, we asked about drinking out of bottled water or reverse osmosis. And we said, is it safe for our dog to drink out of the tap from our well water? She said the person in the lab said, hey, if your dog drinks that water, it is safe for you. That dog would not drink that water if there were contaminants in it. And I didn't want to be a negative Nancy because, you come in to my office and you get a treatment, and I didn't want to bring her down at that moment because we've had a lot of discussions, and her water probably is safe. I don't know that it's safe. It most likely is. I would imagine it's going to take a while for the poisons to hit our wells. So, I'm not going to just assume that her water is not safe. But what I want to do is clarify what was told her by the laboratory. Now, if this was said by some person that just works there at the front counter, that's one thing. And it's still bad because the people should be trained not to give out that any type of advice like that. They should go back and ask one of the people doing the actual tests. But if it was told to her by the person that runs the lab, that's horrible. You do not trust your safety on whether a dog will drink the water or ingest the food. So there have been many, many cases of people that cannot stand their neighbor's dog barking, or for revenge for some other incident, where they have put ethylene glycol in the dog's food, in the dog's water, where the neighbor will put that ethylene glycol in the person they are seeking revenge on, or to shut the dog up. Animals love ethylene glycol. Even if it spills on your driveway, it's very important that you clean it up, because your dog will lap that up like it is honey, and it will kill your dog, even in small amounts. We had a boxer puppy in our office, and we had a mouse problem at that time, and we had Decon. Now, the kind of Decon that is almost like Coumadin, it was a blood thinner. Now, there's a neurotoxin, new type of mouse poison that, boy, if your dog eats it, it's very, very bad. It's like the one with the cat on the package. you have got to do everything to make sure that your dog or your pet never ingests that. It'll go into severe seizures, and it's going to be very hard to help your animal after that. But this one ate Decon, which is like a blood thinner. So we saw what happened pretty immediately. We took it to the vet, and he gave a high dose of vitamin K, and dog was okay. He said it should be okay, and it was. But here we have this dog eating this mouse poison. Don't know if you all remember, but China killed a lot of our dogs when they sent tainted dog food over with lead in it. And it severely injured and killed many, many people's loved ones, their pets. Your dog, now, are their noses more sensitive than us? Absolutely. Will a dog eat contaminated water in terms of bacteria? Yes. Will a dog drink pool water? 1,000%. And that's some smelly chlorine. Now, chlorine is not going to kill them. It's probably going to give them stomach upset. But the dog doesn't know that chlorine's not going to kill them. It doesn't know the difference between chlorine and butyl acrylate and acrolein and ethylene glycol, which ethylene glycol was one of the chemicals on the train. Norfolk Southern said there was only ethylene glycol residue in one of the tankers. Well, that's a 35,000 gallon tanker. I've always wondered what their definition of residue means. Does residue mean there were 10,000 gallons of ethylene glycol on the bottom of that tanker? Was there a pint of ethylene glycol on that tanker? I don't know. The evidence was burned. So, bottom line, people, do not trust your dog to tell you whether your water is safe to drink or not. If you're in a survival mode, if you're plane wrecked and you and your dog survive, hey, use your dog as a good guide as to tell you whether there's bacteria in the creek or contaminants, if that's your last resort. And your dog will probably still drink it and get sick. But do not use it as a guide. Do not use your dog as a guide to let you know whether your water, your tap water or your well water is safe to drink. There is a little video I shot of the older couple right next to the creek, one of the ones that's heavily laden with chemicals. And they just had bought this little dog at a pet store. And he was saying that he thought he never paid that much for a dog. So he went with $1,000 to look for a dog. And we got to the pet store. He said he had to go back home because it was $2,100. He couldn't believe he paid that much for that dog. Habanese? I was thinking habanero, like a pepper. But one of the conditions that the pet store made he and his wife partner sign, it actually turned out that, hey, this is America. They couldn't get married because they would lose their insurance. Isn't that funny? But the pet store. But one of the conditions that this pet store sell them this dog for $2,100 is that it had to drink spring water or purified water, and it was not allowed to drink East Palestine water. So that's an example of them knowing that they could put that little puppy at risk if it drank tainted water. All right, people, on my way to work, almost there. Lesson of the day: do not use your dog as a barometer as to whether your tap or well water is safe to drink. And I will be sending The patient that I was talking to in this video, I will be sending them a link to this video. I just didn't want to stress her out anymore or bring her down during the visit. But I'm also assuming that the drinking water at this point in East Palestine is safe. I don't know that it would have gotten time to get into our wells at this point, although I wouldn't know because the EPA still refuses to test our well. But hopefully everyone's drinking water is safe. I know the creeks aren't safe, but that's another matter at this point. All right, people, have a good day.